Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever, the pilot edition of G Talk here with your boy Gukill. This is the big thing that I was talking about in my previous video, something that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to be able to post videos that were a bit longer in duration that covered either the hot topic that's currently going on in relation to either Diablo or World of Warcraft, the two games that I main, or just being able to voice things such as how things were in the past, what we can look forward to things in the future, just kind of have more of a long outlet for some opinions of mine and being able to share these opinions with you guys and be able to get feedback from you, the community, and see how you feel about this, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, and maybe whether I cast some light on some situations. And this first day that I was planning on doing this recording, I was really kind of thinking to myself, what am I going to talk about here? I mean, Blizzard has been all silent for the last couple of weeks. I know BlizzCon's coming up, and believe me, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to go, and I can't wait to be able to meet people and be able to just kind of party and, be a hooligan. But at the same time, I'm thinking, this is going to be really tough. There's really not a lot to talk about. And then, boy, did Blizzard drop a bombshell today as far as the Diablo community is concerned. For everybody else is pretty much expected. World of Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft 2 even. Everything's getting a pretty good amount of exposure, but Diablo 3 fans were distraught today to see that when Blizzard released their BlizzCon panel schedule, as well as the floor mat, Diablo 3 has barely any representation at all. And it is discouraging because a lot of people were expecting that Diablo 3 and an expansion announcement was going to be the big thing at BlizzCon, since they had apparently moved their Legion announcement back to Gamescom. So there was a lot of optimism and hope in the air for a new Diablo 3 expansion, and it's not happening. Now, I did post a video about a week ago that talked about what I thought my guesses for BlizzCon would be for Diablo 3, and I did talk a little bit about how I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't an expansion announcement due to the fact that they've already been talking about what they plan to do with currently existing sets and the currently existing features in Diablo 3. And based on that, I just couldn't see a scenario where they would announce an expansion which is going to feature all new things and then rein us back in to patch 2.5. So I'm not surprised to see this news. And the way that I look at this, guys, is that you can really look at this one of three ways. You can look at this with complete and utter pessimism, which based on what I've seen on the forum so far, that's where a lot of people are going. That tends to be the first thing that people do, is to react negatively and go, screw Blizzard, screw this company, they're yanking us around, I can't believe this is happening. That's the one way you can look at it. We'll talk a little bit about pessimistic feelings and why it's okay to feel pessimistic. You can look at this with optimism and think about what's going right so far and maybe why there's a justification for not having an expansion announcement. Or you can look at this with complete, utter hope. And we'll talk about that later. And that's the least likely, probably the way you shouldn't look at this. But let's start off with the negatives, because everybody likes to talk about negatives, the pessimism. People are distraught. They can't believe that Diablo 3's presence at BlizzCon is absolutely dwindling. We're getting the opinions of Blizzard doesn't care about Diablo 3. It's their least profitable game. Why would they care about it? What reasoning do they have to pour resources? Obviously, they're going for their Hearthstones and their Heroes of the Storm and their Overwatches. They don't care about their old franchises anymore. The world is ending. Well, some of that could be true. We'll never know because we don't have the inside track on Blizzard. But yes, it is fair to feel disappointed. In my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, Diablo 3 is actually the game right now for Blizzard that kind of has its head on straight. I mean, Diablo 3 knows what it is. It knows what type of game it wants to be, and it's done nothing but improve in the past 2 years. Well, I guess we're not quite at 2 years yet, but for the most part, since its announcement, we've seen features from Reaper of Souls at BlizzCon 2013, and since then has done nothing but get better and better and better, with Season 4 actually seeing, in my opinion, the biggest popularity spike for Diablo since it came out at Reaper of Souls launch, and even going back to its vanilla launch. So there was a lot of optimism in the air, and people are disappointed. And you know what? I do think that Diablo, for BlizzCon 2015, actually does deserve more than it's getting. There should be at least PlayStations or something going for the fans to be able to experience more than just what is there. But the pessimism, guys, I really think you need to take that attitude and you really need to flip it around and turn it into optimism. And now we're going to talk about optimism, and the reason I'm going to say this is because let's look at the all-godly Diablo 2, best game ever. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves to bring comparisons to Diablo 2 and its expansion, Lord of Destruction. Well, I seem to remember playing a lot of Lord of Destruction for, hours in 2004, 2005. And that was 3, 4, 5 years going on after the expansion was released, and Blizzard was still supporting the game, still supporting resets on the ladder, still supporting it by making sure that it was banning botters. I mean, that's questionable, of course, but there were bans going out. There were bans going out for map hacks and for dupers. There was still support there, and there wasn't really a lot of complaint that there was no Diablo 2 further expansion beyond Lord of Destruction. And I think what you can take from Diablo 3 right now is that clearly Diablo 3 is something really, really good going on. And at the end of the day, perhaps Blizzard just feels like they're at a point where they don't need to go and pour all their resources into doing a complete expansion launch, promoting it, charging you guys, us, they're saying that, hey, this game's great and we're going to continue to support it, but we're going to support it through improving the game, through patches, through seasons, and we're not going to charge you for that. And I think that that's great. If the game's just going to keep getting better and better and better, and you've already purchased it, then why would you get upset that Blizzard's saying, yeah, we're not going to do another expansion because we don't want to charge you any more money for the support that we're putting into the game? That's less money for us to spend. That's great. That's awesome. Now, I know people might be a little bit saying, hey, how come you feel this way? I mean, don't you want to see new environments and a continuation of the story? Well, storyline-wise, not so much. I think Diablo 3 lore has gone as really far as it can go. We've kicked every evil's butt to the moon and back. But as far as new scenarios, absolutely. I would love to see different areas of Sanctuary that they've only touched upon in books. However, I do feel like that can be told in a different type of game, aka maybe this new Diablo 3 project that people are talking about. Or it can just be told through what they've done, for example, with the Runes of Seshron in Season 4, where they added a completely different zone, and they incorporated that into the adventure mode and into the random part of rifting. It's a new map, and it's a new scenario, and it looks great, and they've said that they want to do more things like that. And I can just see them every season adding 1 or 2 new zone layouts, new map layouts, and continuing to support the game that way, guys. You should be positive about this because Diablo 3 is in a great spot. And I mean, let's go look at other Blizzard games. World of Warcraft Vanilla was a great game. And yeah, you paid monthly for it. But once you bought the initial vanilla experience, I mean, you played that game for the better part of 3 years. Just that game, continuing to get support through patches, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, it's only recently that we've seen Blizzard trend more towards faster and faster release of content. And that's just to keep up with the way gamers are consuming content now. And I don't think that we should really look at Diablo 3 in that same kind of manner. Because at the end of the day, Diablo 3 is an ARPG. It's about grinding monsters, getting loot. We get our seasonal resets to freshen up the game. I mean, do you really want to have another $60 expansion that is not going to necessarily revolutionize the way that the game is played? I mean, let's face it, Reaper did a world of change to Diablo 3 from what it was to what it is now. And I really don't think that right now, at this very present time, Blizzard can really do much more to expand on that. And I think if they were to expand on the game in a different way, they're going to go in a different direction entirely with it, which is why we're not seeing expansion. Essentially, Blizzard's saying, we're not going to rip you off this year by giving you some new, awesome, cool expansion that really doesn't have that much different. We would rather just put it out to you in seasonal content. And we're going to talk about that at our 1 hour of little chit chat that we're going to have at our dev talk. Now, the last way you can look at this is through utter hopeless hope. And that is that Blizzard has only put out 1 hour of panel time, and they've only put out that little area because they're hiding something for BlizzCon. They don't want us to know anything for BlizzCon. And they just want us to be completely in awe and surprised when they roll out that opening ceremony. They announce awesome new D3 expansion, and everybody's going to go nuts because they threw us off the trail. Guys, I really don't think that's the case. If you go back to previous BlizzCons, for example, last year's BlizzCon, there was a huge area of the map that just had nothing. There was nothing there. This year's BlizzCon, not the case. The map is pretty packed, and even the Diablo Twitters and social media, they've been promoting, hey, come hang out with us at the Slaughtered Calf Inn in the top right corner of BlizzCon, or Dark Moon Fair is actually where it's within. It's a Diablo 3 zone within a World of Warcraft zone. Think about that for a second, but it does exist, and they are promoting it as such. I really don't think that you should hang too tightly onto that hope, because what happens, people hope and hope and hope and hope, and they continue to hope right down to the very last second, and then when they don't get what they want, they go straight to the forums and complain, even though Blizzard promised you nothing. So that being said, there's 3 different ways to look at it, guys, and I'm looking at it from the optimistic lens. I love Diablo. I think it's great. We just had a season come out. I mean, yeah, the casual person is burning out on that season, and I'm going to label myself as casual here because I have burnt out quite a bit and have been taking a break. This video I actually just recorded so that there'd be something for you guys to watch while you were listening to my voice. But for the streamers and the people that are playing, I mean, we're really not that far into the season. It's still relatively new content. I'm looking forward to hearing what is going to happen for Season 5 and how they look on expanding upon the game. I mean, they added a feature like Can Ice Cube in a season, and that could have been an expansion selling point, really, as far as the potential of what they could do with that game. So I'm really not too upset about it, guys, and I don't think you should be either. I know that there's a lot of hope, and yeah, BlizzCon's going to be the place where Blizzard's really going to go balls to the wall with D3. And, I think they really can cover what they want to talk about with Diablo in that hour of time. So hopefully you guys agree with my point of view, because I really think Diablo 3 and its community can be super, super positive about what's to come. I really only think the game's going to get better. I think we're going to hear a ton about that at BlizzCon. You could cram a lot of info into an hour-long panel. I think we're going to hear a ton about it, and who knows, you might get a little bit of leaks as far as information for what they plan to do in the future, which may include expanding of the story. Just remember, guys, it's not a bad thing to not get an expansion in lieu of more DLC and in lieu of more free content in order to improve the game. I mean, that shows a lot of unselfishness on the part of Blizzard and its Diablo 3 development team. So that's how I feel about the BlizzCon 2015 Diablo 3 schedule, and we'll see, I guess, in a couple of weeks, guys. It's only 3 weeks away. I think at the end of the day, Diablo 3, I'm kind of torn about it, because I am kind of fighting off the disappointment, because I was, really looking forward to seeing a really widespread D3 community, and they are not going to be, widespread across the convention center. There's not going to be a big demo booth. It's just going to be a little corner. But at the same time, I think we're still going to have a lot of fun. I think we are going to walk out of BlizzCon 2015 more excited about the future of Diablo 3 than we came in. And I really think, as far as BlizzCon goes, guys, that's all we can really ask for. So thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys next time.